dinner right now somewhere in the west coast of North America, or you're figuring out what to have for lunch on that Monday there in Asia or Australia, we welcome you all to Eagle News America. I'm Alfred Asenas coming to you from Honolulu, Hawaii. As always, we have a lot to cover in this broadcast, and we will kick off with our live reports from across North America. We begin with our friends in Canada with Thomas Likeness.
Retail sales in Canada infected by COVID-19.
On to the US of A, in the nation's capital, we have Imelin Ramos.
Protesters topple Washington, D.C. statue of Confederate general, and Black-owned eateries bullied by grassroots support since virus hit.
Now, on to the Garden State of New Jersey, we have Mayan Manzana-Garzon.
Outdoor visitation with long-term care residents begins in New Jersey.
We actually have more in Washington, D.C., where we have Eliza Gonzalez Manglit Mott.
The Philippine Embassy in the U.S. asks returning overseas Filipinos to accomplish the electronic case investigation form, and the Korean Cultural Center, Washington, D.C. and the Young Concert Artists present an online series called Musical Snapshots.
We're not done with the East Coast yet. We got one more from Eastern Pennsylvania. We have Myla Simbulan.
Pennsylvania Governor Tom Wolf announced that 12 more counties will move to the final reopening phase by June 26.
All right, we jump now to the West Coast. We have Marian Borja in Southern California.
Iglesia Ni Cristo Church of Christ conducts blood donation across LA County.
And still in the West, we have Anaqui in Vegas.
A decline in initial unemployment insurance claims in Nevada.
Plus, in the South Pacific, Ariel Torres takes us to an alternative high school graduation celebration, American Samoa style. Don't want to miss that. But first, here's an overview on how the world looks right now in regards to the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic. According to Johns Hopkins, as of Sunday, June 21, the number of cases worldwide is now more than 8,800,000. with more than 2,200,000 in the US and more than 103,000 in Canada. And sadly, this disease has claimed more than 465 lives worldwide, to include 119,000 in the US and more than 8,000 in Canada. And we cannot stress enough the importance of the guidelines that governments and health professionals remind us all to do our social distancing and practice thorough cleanliness. Now let's go on to our live reports, and we start north of the border, where COVID-19 pushes down retail sales in a dramatic fashion. With more, we have our friend, our bureau chief there in Alberta, Thomas Likeness. Aloha, Thomas.
Aloha, Alfred. How are you doing in Hawaii today?
I got more sunshine coming your way. If you want some, just get with me offline, all right?
Well, yeah, we need sunshine up here. It was rainy, it was cloudy all day, and it's allegedly the first day of summer here. We got up to a high of about 20 degrees. But you were talking about retail sales there. That drop has left several retailers on economic life support. Some numbers first, and I'll throw in some observations as well. Now, Statistics Canada, this is a government agency, the official bean counters. They've released the numbers for April, the latest month available, and sales are down more than, get this, more than 26%, 26.4%. That's how much retail sales have dropped. And that kind of drop is big dollars, huge dollars, $34.7 billion worth. According to StatsCan, a third of retailers had to close their stores in April. They were closed an average of 20 days. Now, who was the hardest hit? Which sectors felt it the worst? clothing and clothing accessory stores down by more than 84%. I wandered through a downtown mall today over a lunch break. I was looking for some fast food. You got to satisfy that craving for fast food occasionally. And the one thing I noticed, hardly anybody in the mall. In the half hour that I was there, I saw maybe 24 customers. And it is a fair-sized mall downtown. But one thing I did notice, a couple of clothing stores, they have big signs. They're advertising these big discounts, huge discounts. Why? They're going out of business. They just couldn't survive. Car sales down by more than 44%. Now, a lot of that is due to rental companies canceling their commitments. Rent-a-car companies, they buy thousands of cars, hundreds of thousands of cars every year. The biggest rental car company is Enterprise. They're actually the biggest buyer of cars in the world. A couple of dealers I talked to said, well, we're doing okay on the walk-ins, the Larry Lunch Bucket buying a new car, but fleet guys, they're starving because those fleet orders have been cut right off. So far, they haven't had to lay too many people off, at least the dealers I've talked with. And with the lockdown, we didn't go anywhere. We didn't travel. A lot of us weren't even driving to work. I got 7 weeks out of a tank of gas on my truck. That's amazing. And things like that pushed fuel sales down 32%. So they're a third less than they were a month earlier. Well, did anybody come out ahead? Retailers who shifted their businesses to online reported big gains, 120% in a year-over-year comparison. And those online sales hit an all-time high in Canada, capturing almost 10%, 9.5% of the market in April went to online sales. Well, economists, you gotta love them. They're like weather forecasters. I sometimes wonder whether weather forecasters were invented to make economists look good. Anyway, the economists had a prediction out there for April, but how far off the mark were they for April? A drop is twice what they forecast. They were figuring 12 to 15%, and here we are at 24.6%. One bank economist said April was the worst month ever for the Canadian economy. I see a few more people out there driving around, but there just doesn't appear to be an appetite to spend more. The stores aren't all that busy. People are short of money. And those that have a few dollars, well, they're hanging on to it because they're worried about the future. We will recover, though, just not anytime soon. Our central bank, the Bank of Canada, the governor, Tiff Macklem, he says recovery is a long way off, and he says interest rates are going to have to remain at historic lows indefinitely for that recovery to happen. So if you're in the market for something out there, there's probably a lot of good deals, but when you buy, support your community, support a local retailer. In the meantime, I wish you all good health. Take care of others, take care of yourselves, stay home, stay safe, and stay tuned to Eagle News for accurate and balanced coverage of the COVID-19 pandemic. In Edmonton, Canada, Thomas I. Likeness, Eagle News. We live in interesting times.
Mahalo. Thank you very much, Thomas, with that update. And what really struck me as you were reporting, and just for our audience's knowledge, our Canada team has its own Eagle News mornings broadcast. In the Philippines, it's aired Monday to Friday, I believe, at 7 a.m. And one of the topics that Marco Zerudo, the anchor earlier, talked about was Justin Trudeau, the Prime Minister there, talking about a summer job program. And then you have this situation with unemployment and closing down business. Now, how does the two, reconcile? I'm curious.
It's hard to wrap your mind around this. The Prime Minister is saying he wants 45,000 jobs created for students. And yeah, there'll be jobs out there for students, but these are going to be kind of seasonal, unskilled, maybe some internships out there. But, we're still sitting at an unemployment rate of 13.7% last month. That's 1 in 7 people who are out of work. I just don't see where these jobs are going to come from. The other thing we're having a big problem with here is the benefit programs were far too generous. we've got people on minimum wage who are saying, why should I go back? I'm making as much or more staying home and get my backyard spruced up real nice. I've got time with my family that I didn't have before. So the government's really having a hard time getting people back to work. But the jobs, in many cases, at least in my province, simply aren't there. They're just not there. Our economy in Alberta has taken quite a hit.
It'll be interesting how this program, these summer programs that are typical, there in Canada and here in the U.S., how they unfold and given all these situations. Now, before I let you go, let's promote that little screen you got on display there. It's actually a website. What's that, Tom?
That is eaglenews.net. Now, when you want to see the story in detail, in broadcast, we can convey a lot of information. But if you want a lot of figures, a lot of detail, that's hard to do in broadcast. We've got eaglenews.net there 24 hours a day, and that's news from the world with our affiliate partner as well, AFP Newswire service. Just an incredible source of information so we can keep you up to date with what's happening around the world when we're not broadcasting. And also, for those of you, and I'm kind of a bit of a print guy myself, I still like to hold the newspaper in the morning. That'll satisfy your print craving. And you'll get to see we have a correspondent there. He's forever contributing. Good stuff, too. What was his name? Alfred Senis, I believe it was.
I like to meet him someday. I like to meet Thomas Likeness too. So something to look forward to, especially in the mornings, right? So we thank our coordinating our producer there, Dex McLeod, helping us out to post these reports. Thanks, Thomas. Don't go. Yeah. Thank you. Don't go away. At the end, we're going to talk about a topic that we'd like our correspondents to share their thoughts on. So thanks again. Stay with us.
Thank you.
Let's jump over to the US of A, onto the nation's capital. Protesters remove a statue in D.C. of a well-known Confederate general. And Black-owned eateries buoyed by grassroots support since the coronavirus hit. We got a lot of that covered by our correspondent there, Amelin Ramos. Aloha, Amelin.
Aloha, Alfred. An issue that's causing much division is the removal of Confederate statues. This issue is spreading across the country, and many people have strong feelings about it. Here in Washington, D.C., protesters have toppled the district's only statue of a Confederate general and set it on fire, according to U.S. media, an act labeled a disgrace by President Donald Trump. The images broadcast on ABC 7 News late Friday showed the figure of Albert Pike being pulled down by rope before dozens of demonstrators started chanting Black Lives Matter and set fire to it. President Donald Trump tweeted shortly afterwards, tagging the city's mayor that the, quote, DC police are not doing their job as they watch a statue be ripped down and burned. These people should be immediately arrested, a disgrace to our country. The issue of Confederate statues and whether they should be removed or not will not go away anytime soon, especially in this political climate. Also, here in Washington, D.C., as we continue to navigate through the COVID-19 pandemic, many businesses have been negatively affected. Numerous studies have shown that Black business owners, and in particular those in the food industry, have been among the worst hit during the COVID-19 pandemic and the subsequent economic chaos. Now, take a look at some Black-owned eateries that have been affected by the pandemic.
Back in the riots of '68, Dr. King was here, and I got to sit down and talk with them. Now you can't have your guests come in and sit down, so it's very different. But the hardest part about this is the uncertainty of it. This was the kind of meeting place, so we definitely miss that. And there aren't as many African American owned businesses as there was at one time, so we try to hold on to them.
I mean, I do see a lot more people, and I do see people coming in and saying, hey, I'm supporting you specifically because I want to support a black business today. During normal times, I mean, we may see, I mean, it's the same thing that's happening with the Black Lives Matter movement. It's one of the things that has to be pointed out, is that you are steps back from the other side of people that are doing business. You don't have necessarily the connections. You don't necessarily have the education. You don't necessarily have, you know, a lot of the other opportunity, business relationships with banking institutions. You don't have an accounting firm that's doing your paperwork. That's it. Your spirit tells you. You gotta go with that.
But it's not all bad news. In recent weeks, as the nation has focused on race issues in the wake of the killing of an unarmed black man, George Floyd, in police custody, there has been an explosion of solidarity and support from activists, as well as social media and commercial campaigns to boost African American restaurant owners. Here in Washington, D.C., some Black-owned eateries have been actually thriving during the coronavirus pandemic. For example, outside the Southwest Soda Pop Shop in the U.S. Capitol, a long line of customers waits both to buy ice cream and to show solidarity with restaurants owned by African Americans, a community particularly hard hit by the coronavirus pandemic. The daughter of the ice cream parlor's owner, Andrea Jones, said, quote, "We went from 30 customers to 300 customers on a weekday. It's crazy." She further states, quote, "Every day the line gets longer. They come out, rain or shine. They bring their umbrella. They support us no matter what. It's beautiful to see." And even those we saw in the video we played earlier recognize that there's some renewed interest in supporting Black-owned eateries. Whatever the cause of this renewed interest is, let's hope that these small businesses can weather the storm and continue to serve the community. In Washington, D.C., I'm Alin Wanda Ramos, Eagle News. We live in interesting times. Back to you, Alfred.
Hello, thank you very much, Imelin, for that update there in the nation's capital. Now, just for, again, we try to keep our audience knowledgeable with Confederate. When you mentioned Confederate, these were part of American history, particularly during the Civil War. When you talk about the Virginia, D.C. area, of course, it's kind of like a borderline. And I remember just one sticking out on the Virginia side, you have Robert E. Lee, who led the Confederate Army. But then you mentioned another Confederate general, Albert Pike. Can you tell us more about him, please?
Yes, Alfred. According to DCpreservation.org, many have argued for the removal of the statue because of Pike's racism and bigotry and his role in the Confederacy. Many DC officials, including Congresswoman Eleanor Holmes Norton, have stated that Albert Pike was one of the worst Confederate generals. Ooh, I don't like the sound of that. I admit that I don't know the entire history of Albert Pike, but it's clear that many people have strong feelings against him. Alfred.
Okay, when you say Albert, you're referring to one of my kids. That's all right. But, he's not here right now. But you know what? What's interesting with given what's going on too is in how America looks right now at these issues, which should not be surprising. Especially, it's a heads up for you when you have kids that are going to grow up and going to go to school and they're going to learn history. How history is going to treat those who contributed whether to the Confederacy or slavery. that's gonna create a huge difference or some changes that some of us in the other generation, are not familiar with. So that might be a good heads up for you there, for your kids. So
it's actually refreshing about this. I grew up in the Philippines, so learning new information here with the history of the U.S. is very much refreshing for me, and I would love my children to also know about this. Thank you, Alfred.
Thank you, and stick with us. Hopefully, we'll do a group chat at the end of our podcast. So stay tuned. Thanks again, Emily. When we come back, we got more from the East Coast right here on Eagle News.
Patindi ng patindi at tuloy-tuloy ang pagpapakita ng galing ng ating mga TNG aspirants.
Just to get to the truth. Pick up you came to get it broke with a name, I should have broke you back when I was a child.
Abangan ng kanilang performances sa pinakamalaking talent competition sa buong bansa, Tagisan ng Galing. Tagisan ng Galing is presented by SMC Infrastructure, building a better world. Sandig sugar-free white coffee, puno ng white coffee taste without the sugar, kaya lower calories. Try mo na Sandig sugar-free white coffee. Sarap ng white coffee, now sugar-free. Vetaproof Nutrichos, the only premium dog food with active boost for optimum energy and probiotics that help strengthen immunity, just like Catherine Bernardo. Gawing listo, ganado ang fur babies niyo. Listo ganado sa Nutrichunks. Magnolia Chicken Templados. Delicious, ready to cook and freshly marinated daily. Pure Foods Lunch and Meat. Pure sarap for every family. Star Chunky Cheese Corned Beef. Ang cheesy ng corned beef mo. Walang duda. Kids can tell na #1 ang Pure Foods Tender Juicy. Ang tender, ang juicy, ang sarap. Co-presented by Cooper, expert in air conditioning and electromechanical. Also engaged in structural, electrical, fire protection, plumbing, and sanitary services. Cooper, your ultimate MEPS and air conditioning solutions. Unlad Incorporated International, fight against global poverty. New San Jose Builders Incorporated. Canrib Corporation, your ventilation and air conditioning specialist. Vita Herbs Philippines Green Coffee. Masarap, mabango, at healthy pa. Puerto Rico Resort and Convention Center, Cabiao, Nueva Ecija. I love Puerto Rico. In participation with Rain or Shine Elastomeric Waterproofing Paint, Matimco, R Square Variables Incorporated, Compizel Enterprises, Saisho International Trading Corporation, DN Steel, EMAC UPB Roof Corporation.
Hey, Aggression Ho here, and I'm a white coffee lover. Creamy kasi, and very yummy. Pero mas masarap kung hindi nakaka-guilty. Check my new discovery, San-May Sugar-Free White Coffee. Puno ng white coffee taste without the sugar, kaya lower calories. Try mo na! San-May Sugar-Free White Coffee. Sarap ng white coffee, now sugar-free.
The successful development of T-Plex, or Tarlac Pangasinan La Union Expressway in 2009, a 4-lane toll road that extends from Tarlac City to Rosario La Union, with an additional approved extension of 56 kilometers all the way to San Juan La Union. This is expected to reduce travel time to Baguio and other provinces in northern Luzon. Realizing the vision of creating a better world for Filipinos fueled the team's focus.
Listo at ganado ang baby ko sa vet-approved Nutrichunks with active boost and prebiotics na pampalisto. Made with real meat, with essential nutrients to help them grow healthy and happy. Listo, ganado sa Nutrichunks.
Ikaw lang ang star ng buhay ko. Para sa akin, perfect ka. Ang cheesy ng corned beef mo. Pag Star Chunky Cheese Corned Beef, sarap ng corned beef, inangat pa ng real cheese cubes. Star Chunky Cheese Corned Beef.
Welcome back to Eagle News America. I'm Alfred Asenas from Honolulu, Hawaii. We continue with our live broadcast from the East Coast. We got more in the nation's capital coming up, but first, in Jersey, outdoor visitation with long-term care residents begins in the Garden State. In Sicklerville, New Jersey, we got Leanne Manzana-Gordon with the details. Aloha, Leanne.
Aloha, Alfred. Thank you. Let's begin with New Jersey's latest numbers of COVID-19 related cases. According to the Department of Health of New Jersey, there is 411 new positive cases reported today, bringing a statewide total of 169,142 New Jerseyans tested positive. Sadly, we have 17 new deaths, adding to a total of 12,870 fatalities. On a positive note, New Jersey continues to have a statewide decline in total and new numbers of hospitalizations, and the rate of transmission also continues to trend among the very lowest in the United States. New Jersey is now on its stage 2 of its road to recovery. Now, onto the headline. Outdoor visitation with long-term care residents begins in New Jersey. Residents of long-term care facilities will be able to have outdoor visits with loved ones in designated outdoor space starting Sunday, June 21st. Father's Day under a directive to long-term care facilities issued by the State Department of Health. The Health Department has received input and worked collaboratively with long-term care providers on developing this directive to accommodate visitors. Prior to transporting a long-term care resident to a designated outdoor space, visitors must be screened for COVID-19 symptoms, including a temperature check, and facilities must follow safety and infection prevention and control measures in order to allow visitation. Health Commissioner Judith Percy Kelly said, quote, "Being apart from our loved ones has been one of the most difficult challenges throughout the pandemic, especially for long-term care residents and their families. This directive outlines the measures that must be in place to reduce risk to this vulnerable population while allowing visits outdoors. The directive applies to dementia care homes, long-term care facilities, pediatric transitional care homes, assisted living residences and programs, and comprehensive personal care homes. Only 2 visitors will be permitted at a time and must stay 6 feet apart from the resident. Visitors and residents are required to wear face coverings, and a staff member wearing a surgical mask must remain with the resident during the visit. A resident who is suspected or confirmed to be infected with COVID-19 or quarantined for an exposure cannot have visitors. A resident who has tested positive can have visitors after they have met the criteria to discontinue isolation. Facilities are required to communicate the visitor policy to residents, families, staff, and others, and must receive informed consent in writing from the resident and visitor that they will comply with the facility's policies during the visit. As part of the consent form, visitor must agree to notify the facility if they test positive for COVID or have symptoms within 14 days of visiting. In Sicklerville, New Jersey, May and Manzano-Gordon, we live in interesting times. Back to you, Alfred.
Mahalo, thank you very much, May, and for that update there in Jersey. Now, what are the latest numbers of COVID-19 there as far as long-term care facilities there in the state?
Alfred, as of today, New Jersey has 556 long-term facilities with outbreaks, to 23,774 cases amongst residents, and 12,104 cases amongst staff. And the total number of deaths of residents is 6,395 and 117 deaths of staff. You know, Alfred, sadly, these 2 numbers combined in our long-term care facilities here in New Jersey is more than half of the total fatalities statewide. Alfred?
Yeah, those numbers are interesting, especially when we have that part of the world, and even the West Coast here in Hawaii. There's new numbers or increase in numbers. It's something that I think is not just isolated in certain parts, but it might be across the board, nationwide, if not the whole world. Now, I do want to just let our audience know, Mian is actually a host of another show called Daily Insights. For those who are not familiar with that show, Mian, why don't you just tell us what it's about and why is it interesting?
Thank you for mentioning your program, Alfred. This is I will definitely grab the opportunity to promote one of our online programs in the Eager Broadcasting Corporation. It is about small businesses. We discuss and we interview with small business owners, and we try to elicit like a conversation that would inspire and motivate the viewers, so that one day, maybe or sooner or later, they would also put up their own businesses. Especially at this time, Alfred, many are losing their jobs or maybe closing down their businesses. So maybe this program could at least inspire the viewers to come up with something else in order to improve or to get back up and think of something like a livelihood to help the situation and to help the economy in general. And thank you again for mentioning the program, Alfred.
Yeah, and also for those who want to know more, actually the previous programs are available on social media. I know YouTube carries those. So for those who want to venture into small business, even around this time, this situation, there may be some helpful tips out there. So we hope to see you more from that program. Thanks again, Maya.
Thank you, Alfred.
Ein sonniger Tag heute hier in Berlin vor dem Bundestag. Ich bin Irene Juliet Arzadon und möchte diese Gelegenheit nutzen, um ein paar Worte mit euch zu teilen. An alle Menschen da draußen. In dieser Zeit lasst uns nicht vergessen, den Menschen zu danken, die ihr Leben für uns opfern. Sei es die Menschen, die im Krankenhaus arbeiten, in den Altenheimen sowie in den Arztpraxen, aber auch an die Menschen, die im Lebensmittelhandel sich befinden. Die Kassierer. Manchmal reicht es aus, um ihnen ein freundliches Lächeln zu geben. Denn die Menschen, die heute am Arbeiten sind, weil sie nicht so wie einige von uns zu Hause bleiben können, die sollten wir wertschätzen. Ihnen sollten wir unseren Dank ausrichten. Darum lasst uns noch mehr zusammenhalten. Sie wertschätzen.
I mentioned we have more to cover in nation's capital, and with us is Eliza Gonzalez Mangley in Washington, D.C., on the Philippine Embassy in the U.S. asking returning overseas Filipinos to accomplish the Electronic Case Investigation Form, or the ECIF, and Korean Cultural Center in Washington, D.C., along with young artists, concert artists, present an online series of musical snapshots. For more, here's Eliza Gonzalez Mangley. Aloha, Eliza.
Aloha, Alfred. That's true. The Philippine Embassy in DC released an advisory requesting returning overseas Filipinos arriving at the Ninoy Aquino International Airport, or NAIA, to register and fill out the ECIF, or the Electronic Case Investigation Form, to secure their own QR code before arriving at NAIA. The advisory includes a step-by-step procedure on how to accomplish the ECIF. First, go to ecif.redcross.com.ph, fill out the form, click Submit, save the QR code in mobile phones or tablets by taking a screenshot or printing out a copy of it. Present the QR code upon health assessment for the RT-PCR testing for COVID-19 at the airport. Overseas Filipino workers are also requested to register in the Department of Labor and Employment's OFW Assistance Information System, or OASIS, through the following links: www.dole.gov.ph or at oasis.owwa.gov.ph. Accomplishing the ECIF and registering in the OASIS system prior to arrival will facilitate immigration and quarantine clearance for entry into the Philippines. Meanwhile, the Korean Cultural Center, Washington, D.C., in collaboration with Young Concert Artists, presents Musical Snapshots. It is a new online series introducing rising Korean stars of classical music in short-form video profiles that combine personal interviews and original home performances, releasing now through July 2020. The schedule of each feature is, what's on now is young concert artist violinist Soo Bin Lee, and on June 30, they'll have young concert artist pianist Nathan Lee. On July 14, violist Jinsun Hong and Omer Quartet, and on July 28, pianist Do Hayan Kim. For more information about this series, visit Young Concert Artists' website, yca.org, or their Facebook page at Young Concert Artists, their YouTube page at Young Concert Artists, and the Korean Cultural Center, Washington, D.C., or washington-dc.korean-culture.org. Back to you, Alfred.
Mahalo, thank you, Eliza, for the updates there in the nation's capital. And I recall in a previous broadcast, we did cover a bit of the Philippine Embassy having its own cultural event. And in fact, it had its 122nd Independence Day celebration online, which is unique, but I think it still drew a pretty big audience, everywhere. Have there been any hints of how the embassies there plan to deal with cultural event or promote cultural events, given the restrictions and other challenges?
Well, good thing you mentioned that, Alfred, because here in DC, people really look forward to these events sponsored by several embassies here. Looking back at the past years, there have been tons of activities sponsored by the embassies year-round, but more during the summer months. Collaborative efforts or events produced individually by embassies. One event that people look forward to, Alfred, both locals and tourists, is what we call Passport DC, or it's the Around the World Embassy Tours. It's when embassies open their doors for people from all walks of life to visit their embassies, look what they have to offer, and learn about their culture of each country. It was scheduled for May 2 this year, but because of COVID-19, it was canceled. I think the best way to know what ends up happening, be they virtual or maybe it could be in person, but observing social distancing, of course, and other safety precautions, is to visit the website of the embassy that you wish to visit or you wish to know if there are events going on. Back to you, Alfred.
Also, just to let our audience know, being in the nation's capital, one important and huge event there, especially in early July, is the 4th of July celebration with fireworks and all that. It wouldn't be surprising if there are any changes. Anything that you've picked up so far as to what kind of differences with this holiday coming up?
Eagle News, we've always been invited to these July 4 celebrations. It's usually in the Capitol grounds. But right now, we haven't received any invitation yet. Maybe because we're still planning on how to navigate the whole event. But more than likely, if they are going to hold concert at the park or the fireworks display, there will be a lot of restrictions and policies or guidelines on how to be there if you want to be there. And if you want to bring your family, what to do and what not to do.
That's great to know, Eliza. Thank you very much, and always looking forward to what's going on there in the DC area. And do take care of yourself and your family. Thanks again.
You too.
Still in the East Coast, over to Pennsylvania. Our Governor Tom Wolf has announced 12 more counties will move to the final report reopening phase by June 26th. Our viewer chief there, Malison Bulan, has her report. Aloha, Myla.
Aloha, Alfred. As of today in Pennsylvania, there are 54 counties in final phase or green and 13 in second or yellow phase. But on June 26th, 12 more counties are moving to the green or third and final reopening phase. This was announced by Governor Tom Wolf last Friday, June 19. These counties include Berks, Bucks, Chester, Delaware, Erie, Lackawanna, Lancaster, Lehigh, Montgomery, Northampton, Philadelphia, and Susquehanna. Philadelphia is the hardest hit here in Pennsylvania, and although it met all the criteria to move to the green phase on June 26, additional restrictions will remain as requested by local officials. These are the only activities that can resume on June 26 for the city. Residential swimming pools and private swim clubs, zoos, outside only, personal services such as salons, barbers, and spas, and small indoor social and religious gatherings are up to 25 people only. By June 26, nearly every county will be on its final phase, except Lebanon County. According to Department of Health Secretary Dr. Rachel Levine, Lebanon County's partisan, politically driven decision to ignore public health experts and reopen prematurely is having severe consequences for the health and safety of county residents. As you can see in the data dashboard for Lebanon County, the number of confirmed case counts for the past 2 weeks compared to the previous 2 weeks are not going down. So it's not yet ready to be reopened, and more people are at greater risk of contracting COVID-19. That's why the decision was made for it to remain in yellow phase. So what does green phase mean for Pennsylvanians? Social distancing and wearing of masks still remains, but businesses right now that are operating at 50% occupancy in the yellow phase can now increase to 75% occupancy. Child care may open, but of course, following guidelines. Large gatherings of more than 250 is not allowed. Personal care services, including hair salons and barbershops, open at 50% occupancy and by appointment only. Indoor recreation, health and wellness facilities such as gyms and spas will also open at 50% occupancy with appointments strongly encouraged. All entertainment such as casinos, gatherers, and shopping malls will also be open at 50% occupancy. The governor of Pennsylvania continues to urge Pennsylvanians that even if we will go back to our daily activities, washing hands, social distancing, and wearing masks are still necessary as we prepare for the emergence of the virus in the fall. In Swarthmore, Pennsylvania, Myla Sabulan, Eagle News, will live in interesting times. Back to you, Alfred.
Mahalo. Thank you much for that, the latest info there in Pennsylvania, Myla. Now, what are some of your plans? I'm sure, most of us have plans, especially with this summer kicking in. When your area finally reopens for its final phase, I'm sure you and your family have discussed what you guys want to do.
That's a good question, Alfred. Reaching the final reopening phase has both advantages and disadvantages. Businesses like salons, gyms, malls will finally reopen, which is good for the economy. But at the same time, I will be more careful in going to places where I will anticipate an influx of people. I will probably stay away from indoor activities, especially for my kids. I was thinking of places to go to relieve my kids of their cabin fever. And I was actually inspired by Eagle News feature last week about hiking. So you should watch it, Alfred, if you haven't seen it. I am now leaning more on outdoor activities like hiking, zip lining, or kayaking, or will be more adventures like whitewater rafting. Alfred?
Wow, whitewater rafting. That's a huge step, and that's something to look forward to for those who want to take their adventure to the next level, or for those who want to play it safe. You got a treadmill here if you want to stay in shape. You know, for those, there are plenty of options. I think the bottom line is for those who have sacrificed staying at home, and thank you for reminding that there are still some activities, outdoor activities to consider, and we hope that you and your family will stay safe at the same time. Enjoy a bit of outdoors, especially this coming summer. You take care of yourself, Mila.
You too, Alfred. Thank you.
Okay, coming up, we're finished with the East Coast. Let's move to the West. When we come back, we will have California and Nevada with their updates. We will return shortly. This is Eagle News America. Welcome back to our broadcast here in Honolulu, Hawaii. I'm Alfred Esanas. In response to the Red Cross's call for more blood donors, especially this time of year, the Iglesia Ni Cristo or Church of Christ conducts a blood drive across LA County. From North Hills, California, we have our correspondent, Marianne Borja, with the details. Aloha, Marianne.
Aloha, Alfred. Since no one knows when this pandemic will end, there is an increasing need for more blood donations to replenish and maintain the current blood supply for the residents here in the city and county of Los Angeles, as this action is crucial in saving lives, especially in cases of trauma. According to the American Red Cross, a great number of their blood drives across the United States did not go through as scheduled this year. At the very beginning of this pandemic, their organization alone accounted for almost 2,700 canceled blood drives, which translated to approximately 86,000 less blood donations. Peter Marks, the director of the Center for Biologics Evaluation and Research from the U.S. Food and Drug Administration, issued this statement. The COVID-19 pandemic has caused unprecedented challenges to the U.S. blood supply. Donor centers have experienced a dramatic reduction in donations due to the implementation of social distancing and the cancellation of blood drives. The Livestream Blood Donor Center and the Houchin Community Blood Bank were no different and also experienced these significant declines in their blood donations due to the COVID-19 situation. Let's take a look.
So before we had the pandemic with our blood collections, they were lower, but not as much as they are now. During our regular time without having this pandemic, we are also able to go into high schools and collect from our younger donors. So that's where a lot of our blood supplies came in during a regular school year. During the pandemic, because those schools are closed, that has made it a lot more critically low of us not being able to collect from our donors, but also with people not wanting to come out.
It has slowed down significantly. For us, and I think just nationwide, a lot of our blood collection was coming from big organizations such as our high schools, our universities, our churches, where you can have a huge number of people congregate and donate at all at the same time. And with the shutdowns and with the social distancing guidelines, that has just significantly reduced how many people can be at a place at one time.
This past weekend, the Church of Christ, through its social arm of the Felix Y. Manala Foundation, coordinated with the Livestream Blood Donor Center and the Huchin Community Blood Bank to organize and conduct blood donation drives throughout Bakersfield, North Hollywood, and Oxnard areas. Almost 200 blood donors arrived in scheduled appointment times in the three venues to maintain the required 6 feet physical distancing and safety precautionary measures. Another one is scheduled next week in Los Angeles. Our Eagle News Los Angeles teams were on site on all three locations, and more details on these news feature to be reported. In Los Angeles County, the number of new cases increased with 1,784 newly reported cases and 11 new deaths. The total number of confirmed cases in the county is 83,397, with 3,120 deaths, as announced today by the Los Angeles Public Health Department. Meanwhile, the state of California currently has a total of 173,824 confirmed COVID-19 cases and 5,495 deaths, as recorded by the California Department of Public Health. In North Hills, California, Marianne Borja, Eagle News. We live in interesting times. Back to you, Alfred.
Thanks very much, Marianne. It's good to see large numbers of the community turning out, even with COVID-19 going on. Just curious though. I thought when you have these blood drives, there is a procedure, I guess, on the part of the donors that they have to go through, like what they should eat. Before the giving blood. Can you tell us more about that?
Yeah, so it's recommended that donors eat vegetables and citrus fruits because fruits loaded in iron and vitamin C will help keep their body strong. Salty snacks should also be included in the mix, just don't overdo it. And keeping hydrated is really important. Drinking lots of water will help with blood flow and will help a person replenish the pint of blood they donated more quickly.
Yes, that's great, and that's great to remember. And thank you very much, Marianne, for that update. Do stay with us. We're going to do a little chat at the end of the broadcast, given that summer has just kicked in, all right? So we'd like to share your thoughts on something at the end. Thanks again. Stand by. Now, to Las Vegas, Hawaii's 9th island. There is a decline in initial unemployment insurance claims in the state of Nevada. We have Anna Cui, the bureau chief there, with the latest on the situation. Aloha, Anna.
Thank you, Alfred. Well, according to a recent press release from the Nevada Department of Employment, Training, and Rehabilitation, their data shows initial claims for unemployment insurance totaled just a little over 11,000 for the most recent reported week, which is actually down about 4,000 claims, or 27.4% compared to the previous week. This is the 5th consecutive week of declines in regular initial claims, which is good news. And full disclosure, though, there is a lag of 2 weeks in these numbers. But in addition, according to their most recent press release, there have been just a little over 500,000 initial claims filed in 2020 so far for the state of Nevada. And as we know, 485,000 of that were filed in the last 12 weeks as a result of the businesses shutting down due to the pandemic. And in addition, about middle of last month, about a month now, the Pandemic Unemployment Assistance Program for the self-employed and 1099 contract workers started accepting applications. And as of the most recent reported week, data also shows a decline in initial claims to 16,000 from last week's total of over 18,000. We're seeing this decline due to the reopening of non-essential businesses here in the city of Las Vegas, and also being in phase 2 since May 29th. More good news, according to Nevada.gov, Governor Steve Sisolak announced the distribution of Federal CARES Act funding to local governments throughout the state to assist with expenditures created by the COVID-19 pandemic, according to the press release. The distribution of the $148 million in funding is based on the federal guidance for local governments with a population of less than 500,000, which for Nevada includes all counties and incorporated cities besides the city of Las Vegas. According to, as far as for recent numbers, according to the COVID tracking project, Nevada has a total of 13,205 cases out of over 241,000 cases total testing, which gives us a positivity rate of 4.6%. So despite of, we see these news about increased number of cases, we're focusing on the positivity rate, which has actually been down. If we look at the last 7 days, it was averaging 5.2. Today, as of today, I did the calculation, it's about 4.6%. And before I go, Alfred, I just want to share with you a glimpse of the Las Vegas Strip, because, during the pandemic, it was ghost town, but this was from a few nights ago, we ventured out. So let's take a look at how the Strip looks these days. In Las Vegas, Eagle Deuce, and Niqui, we live in interesting times. Back to you, Alfred.
Mahalo, Anna. Now you really got me going about Las Vegas. Yes, I get it. My family and I are already overdue to another visit there at the Ninth Island. Thanks for reminding me, though. But I had to ask, and I've been meaning to ask, every time, we talk like this. There's a lot of reopening signs there, and I had to ask, okay, what about the buffet? What about the food? What's the status there like?
Well, there's only one hotel so far that actually reopened their buffet, and that's the Wynn property. That was just as of last week, they opened their buffet. So big changes. There's a 2-hour reservation limit. People are not allowed to go, people are actually ordering from their tables. They're given like a QR code that they scan, and then they order from that. And then the food is brought to their tables. So that's the biggest change. But a lot of people seem to be enjoying it just because it's, it is the buffet.
Yeah, and I think, the restaurant industry, that in particular, I think they're just going through, I guess, the crawl stage of opening back up to see, whether or not the infections will still, spike because of the opening, and I think that phase is being monitored. Good to know, Anna. And you know what? For our audience, did you know Anna Kui has her own show, Vegas Variety? Talk to us about that.
Well, thank you, Alfred. As Mayanne grabbed the opportunity to promote, I will also promote our Vegas Variety. It's not your typical Vegas show. So, it's more wholesome, and we talk about a variety of things. We try to include a little bit of Vegas in there, Vegas hospitality. As a matter of fact, our next episode will air on this coming Friday, and it is about the art of jiu-jitsu. We spoke with a husband and wife, owners of a local jiu-jitsu gym. So, and it's more than you think. And you're going to see one of the hosts, trying out a sparring move. So we'll keep you guessing on who that is. So please.
Okay. Yeah, looking forward to that this coming weekend. Okay, Vegas Variety here on ABC. Thanks, Anna, for that pitch. And yeah, that'll be interesting to see. Jiu-Jitsu.
Thank you. Thank you, Alfred.
Okay, coming up, we'll check out an alternative high school graduation celebration, American Samoa style. Eagle News will be right back. Don't go away.
Patindi ng patindi at tuloy-tuloy ang pagpapakita ng galing ng ating mga TNG aspirants.
You're just too good to be true. It up, you came to get it drunk with a dame, I should have drunk you back when I was a child.
Abangan ang kanilang performances sa pinakamalaking talent competition sa buong bansa, Tagisan ng Galing.
Tagisan ng Galing is presented by SMC Infrastructure, building a better world. Sandig sugar-free white coffee, puno ng white coffee taste without the sugar, kaya lower calories. Try mo na Sandig sugar-free white coffee. Sarap ng white coffee, now sugar-free. Vet-approved Nutrichos, the only premium dog food with active boost for optimum energy and prebiotics that help strengthen immunity. Just like Catherine Bernardo, gawing listo, ganado ang fur babies niyo. Listo ganado sa Nutrichos. Magnolia Chicken Templados, delicious, ready to cook and freshly marinated daily. Pure Foods Luncheon Meat, pure sarap for every family. Star Chunky Cheese Corned Beef, ang cheesy ng corned beef mo. Walang duda, kids can tell na #1 ang Pure Foods Tender Juicy. Ang tender, ang juicy, ang sarap. Co-presented by Cooper, expert in air conditioning and electromechanical. Also engaged in structural, electrical, fire protection, plumbing, and sanitary services. Cooper, your ultimate NEPs and air conditioning solutions. Ulan Incorporated International, fight against global poverty. New San Jose Builders Incorporated. Canrib Corporation, your ventilation and air conditioning specialist. Vita Herbs Philippines Green Coffee, masarap, mabango, at healthy pa. Puerto Rico Resort and Convention Center, Cabiao, Nueva Ecija. I love Puerto Rico. In participation with Rain or Shine Elastomeric Waterproofing Paint, Matimco, Our Square Variables Incorporated, Compizel Enterprises, Saisho International Trading Corporation, DN Steel, EMAC UPB Roof Corporation.
Hey, Gretchen Ho here, and I'm a white coffee lover. Creamy kasi, and very yummy. Pero mas masarap kung hindi nakaka-guilty. Check my new discovery, San-May sugar-free white coffee. Puno ng white coffee taste without the sugar, kaya lower calories. Try mo na! San-May sugar-free white coffee. Sarap ng white coffee, now sugar-free.
Star Tollway is a 41.9-kilometer highway that stretches out from Santo Tomas, Batangas all the way to Batangas City. An important component of the company's portfolio, the NAIA Expressway project is a 5.4-kilometer elevated expressway that connects the Skyway system to NAIA Airport terminals and the entertainment city. SMC Infrastructure's ventures also include other projects aside from the toll road business.
Listo at ganado ang baby ko sa vet-approved Nutrichunks with active boost and prebiotics na pampalisto. Made with real meat, with essential nutrients to help them grow healthy and happy. Listo, ganado sa Nutrichunks.
Bakit natin ipinagluluto ang mga mahal natin? We want them to feel special. Sa meaty luncheon meat that we serve. If your pure intentions had a taste, it would taste like Pure Foods. Pure sarap, Pure Foods luncheon meat.
Alfred Asenas right here for Eagle News America, coming to you from Honolulu, Hawaii. Even though American Samoa has zero, I say again, zero cases of COVID-19 still, schools throughout the South Pacific territory are not taking any chances. and have chosen to hold alternative celebrations for graduating students. And celebrate they did. For more, here's our correspondent in American Samoa, Arian Torres. Arian?
Podcast. Get ready, we roll the red carpet.
Dozens of seniors from Nuuli Vocational and Technical High School, along with their families, recently took part in an alternative form of graduation. Faculty and volunteers set up a large canopy tent on campus grounds to briefly gather the graduating class to listen to some words of encouragement from the principal and other school officials. Afterwards, families and friends pick up their respective academic achievers in vehicles adorned with colorful balloons, posters, and other decorations. Dr. Ruth Matangi Tofinga, Director of the Territories Department of Education, was even motivated by this simple yet memorable event.
I know some of you have not slept yet to put this together. And you know why you did it? You care for these students. I didn't enjoy what I enjoyed today. This was my vision. Sitting back there, letting you take control of this. Because this is you. This is you teachers giving it all up, sending these students out. You came through today. When I see those parents and the community coming all out today, I said to myself, it wasn't us, it was you. From the tremendous job. And on that note, enjoy the summer.
Despite the territory remaining free of COVID-19, the school and the community still took necessary precautions to keep everyone in attendance safe and healthy during this brief joyous moment. Reporting from Pango Pango in American Samoa, this is Arian Torres, Eagle News. We live in interesting times. Fa'afetai, Telelava.
Fa'afetai, and thank you for that feature, Arian. And congratulations to the class of 2020 there in American Samoa. Which brings us now to our little group discussion about graduation memories, particularly in high school or maybe college, or whatever graduation experience some of us may have. And just to let everyone know, here in this part of the world, yesterday was the official start of summer. So, with those two topics in mind, we'd like to open up to our correspondents with us right now. Let's start with the East Coast. It's already late in the day. Between, I think, Mayan, Eliza, and Myla. Okay, share with us what kind of memories do you recall as far as graduation and plans for this coming summer. Minutes, please. Myla, how about you? Let's start with you first.
Hi, Alfred. Yeah, I remember my graduation years ago. I'm not going to say which year, but there is a lot of crying at the best times in high school. And during our graduation, a lot of crying. I don't know if you know Ray Malochenko. He's one of I graduated in the Philippines, by the way, and he's one of the Filipino artists there. And he has this song, "Farewell to You, My Friend." It was sung during the end of the graduation, and yeah, everyone was crying. So that's one thing I remember during my graduation in high school. About summer, I don't know if you want to ask others as well about your graduation, then I'll tell you about my summer plans.
Mayan, how about you in Jersey? Any particularly experience you want to share about graduation and what you look forward to in the summer?
Yes, Alfred, I can barely remember the details of my college graduation, to be honest. That's 10 years ago. Wow, that sounds like a long time. But, well, I think I remember this because my family, especially my dad, remembers this particular moment. After receiving after my march, after receiving my medals and awards, and when I went on the stage where my dad was waiting for picture taking, I removed my medals and I had him wore it, and yeah, and that's when we took pictures. So I think that was just my way of, I don't want to get too sentimental, but that's I guess that was my way of thanking them, and that telling them that my awards, my medals are actually for them, for my parents. There. And for summer, maybe I'll share it after Ate Eliza shares her graduation memories. Yeah,
okay, Eliza, nation's capital. Okay, high school or college, graduation experience.
Okay, this will be very quick because I think we're running over time. I graduated from high school from the New Era University in 1991, and for college, I graduated from the University of the Philippines, College Baguio. Now, Baguio is quite far from where I grew up, which is in Manila. So it was a big thing for the family. Graduations are really big in our family, especially if you graduate from college. So without exaggeration, I had like 20 to 30 guests for that event, cheering for me that I did it in one piece. And for summer, like Myla, I look forward to nature walks. But now, because the trails are busier, I think I have to go earlier than usual because people are into outdoor activities right now. Thank you.
Let's head out west. Let's ask Anna first. Okay, graduation experience and plans for the summer.
So, high school is too far away from here. So, I remember graduating from vocational nursing school. Kids nowadays are just more creative. Back then, we just celebrated with a group of family and friends going out to eat. That's always the thing that we did. And for summer, just to go somewhere much cooler than Las Vegas, because as you know, we're already hitting 3 digits. Today, the high was 107. So I just want to go somewhere, the beach, take a place just to relax, hear the ocean.
Well, we got an ocean here, Anna, so just an option for you to consider.
That's it for me, Alfred.
Let's go back to the East Coast. I think, May Imelin is back. Want to share with us some graduation experience and what you look forward to in the summer?
Hi, Alfred. Particularly for me, all I remember was sweat. I was sweating a lot. I graduated nursing. We're the same batch as Mayan. I graduated 2010 nursing. Our uniform, our graduation uniform was long sleeves, and we have white stockings on. And it was at 1 p.m. in an not air-conditioned venue. So the heat was a lot to take in. That's the only thing I remember in my graduation. Not even the ceremony itself. It's just all sweat with all my makeup on. Anyway, for the summer, I'm looking forward to the playgrounds. Well, the boys love the playground, more so that DC is about to reopen tomorrow. So I'm very much looking forward to playing with them in an outdoor playground. Alfred?
Well, we gotta go, and now for more updates, check us out online and check out our other news programs here on EBC Net 25. Thank you very much for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you in our other broadcasts. And we salutations to our frontline workers in the class of 2020. From Honolulu, Hawaii, I'm Alfred Estes, Eagle News, and join the summer here. We live in interesting times. Aloha.